How's it going, everyone? We're going to be doing a new series today. This is QuackShot for the Sega Genesis. This is actually one of my favorites, so let's hop right in. So, this is a 2D platformer, loosely based around the DuckTales series. The plot of the game is that Donald finds a treasure map hidden in Scrooge McDuck's study, and decides to go after said treasure. Unfortunately for him, Pete's gang actually overhears this, and so you're going to be dealing with them while you go after the treasure. And as you can see, the Indiana Jones references are real. Anyways, that's about all you need to know. First thing that's kind of interesting is you'll notice there's actually a world map. You don't just jump right in. You can choose to go to any of these places in whatever order you choose. Because I know what I'm doing, we're going to do this optimally, and we're going to Duckburg first. Alright, so here we are. This is what the game looks like. It's a pretty good looking game. It, at first glance, looks like your typical 2D platformer, although there's a bit more going on than in a more generic game, I guess. As far as the controls go, you move with the D-pad. C is jump, A is sprint, B is fire your plunger gun. If you collect a certain amount of peppers, you enter rage mode, which is kind of just a gimmick, honestly, but, you know, whatever. You can fire in different directions, and there's some very bizarre enemies to be found here. One thing that you'll notice is that the plunger gun doesn't actually kill the enemies. I mean, obviously it's not going to kill the enemies in a Disney game. But, well, hold on here. You won't be able to continue much farther without the right tools. I think he is right. Yeah. So we're going to have to go call the airplane and head back to a different level. This is where the most interesting part of the game comes in. It has sort of a Metroidvania aspect to it, where you have to collect power-ups from different stages to progress in the other ones. Anyways, as I was saying, you'll notice that the plunger gun doesn't actually kill the enemies or remove them from the screen, whatever you want to call it. It stuns the enemies for a certain amount of time. And the plunger gun is anything but a gimmick. In fact, it has some very useful applications, and we will see that. One thing that I very much like is how they integrated the plunger gun into the mechanics so that it's actually something that you have to use over the course of the game. I don't know why I bothered with that guy. Extra points, right? One thing that's also kind of nice about the game is that not only do all the levels look different, they have sort of a different theme going, they all play completely differently. Each level has its own set of mechanics, for the most part, and it makes it feel like you're not just playing a palette swap. You... give me that ice cream. And where you're really going to start to see this game shine is once we get some more abilities and get into the later levels. I also think it's kind of neat how the levels are all themed. You know, I was trying to grab that to get healed, but I guess it didn't work out. At any rate, the game is just challenging enough, I would say. It can get pretty difficult in places, but it's never unfair. And the controls are very responsive. You'll notice I can change direction. I jump just fine, and everything works out. Alright. Oh, I need a key to go into the ruins, okay. And a team of explorers return to Duckburg. Alright. Now, early on, it's going to be fairly obvious what you need to do. The game's going to explicitly tell you, yeah, go back to Duckburg. Oh, that's convenient. Okay, back we go. Okay, sounds like a plan. Listen to this track, by the way, I really like this song. Very atmospheric. Anyways, here's where we start seeing the plunger come into play as a mechanic. You actually have to freeze these weird block things in order to make your way up to the next area. And we'll see more of this kind of stuff later on. The money is absolutely worthless, by the way. It is only points. But you know what? For completion's sake, I guess we'll grab it. The popcorn is actually an alternate weapon that does, in fact, remove the enemies from the screen. But we're going to save that because I don't want to have to come back and gather more. It's unlimited in the sense that you can re-enter levels that you've already completed, but I don't want to have to do that, so... Alright. Whoops. And what are you doing here? I love how he's got like the typical tourist gear on with the camera around his neck. Yeah, give me the note. Maybe if you shoot it at walls and things. Ah. So now, we've gotten an upgrade. And this is a surprisingly satisfying way to wall climb. Things just got a little bit more interesting. So if you haven't figured it out by now, what you need to do is go back to Duckburg, and now we can get over that wall that we couldn't before. You'll notice that also those enemies on the way down were removed, just to make it a little bit less annoying to get back through. That's a good bit of game design. Also like the way it looks when you climb slowly. Anyways. Now the red plungers do the same amount of damage and linger for the same amount of time. It's all just the climbing ability. Alright, back we go. And really, this is the kind of thing you're going to be doing throughout the whole game. When I was a kid playing this, it really was pretty cool having to sort of figure out what to do. Because, I mean, early on, it's pretty obvious, like we've seen, you know, it says, go back to Duckburg, go back to Mexico. But things get a little bit more cryptic later on. Although this is, at heart, still a game that's basically targeted at children, so it's never going to get too, like, obtuse. This part's pretty neat. Like I said, every level has its own little set of mechanics that are all pretty cool. Don't bother jumping onto that previous one, by the way. We'll get those power-ups on the way back. Alright. No, I won't. But thanks anyway. Exploding bubbles. Yeah, why not? So what you don't know is that in the third area, there is actually an explodable wall that we are unable to get to until we get this. Anyways, let's go back. Check out the moon, by the way. What a troll. Whee! Alright. Now there is a ladder, but screw ladders, I have plungers, as I always say. True story, I do always say that. Aw. Don't ask me why that's falling from the sky. Couldn't tell you. And while we're talking about strange things in this game, why is it that chicken is what restores you to full health? Isn't that just a little bit morbid? I mean, I know you're a duck, but... Anyways, let's move on. Okay, so these are both cleared now. On to Transylvania. See what I mean about just the level themes? Everything looks completely different. We got different mechanics. For instance, you don't want to fall in that. The enemies will change up as well, and we'll see this a little bit later on. Whoops. They will actually wear different attire depending on where you're at. And it's just little things like that that show you there was a lot of effort and thought and love that went into this game. You. Alright, Dracula's Castle. Okay. Count Dracula has the treasure map. Alright. So as you might imagine, there's going to be a little boss fight at the end of this level. There isn't any quick switch for your weapons, but honestly it works quickly enough that it's not really an issue. Some spooky skeletons there. Not too big a deal. You also will find plenty of pickups in here for additional gum, so you don't really have to worry about running out. See ya. Go be spooky somewhere else. And again, another new mechanic. Underwater mechanic. Which really does feel like underwater. You are so slow. You know, a lot of 2D platformers, when you go underwater, it really isn't that big a deal. In this one, it kind of is. Get down, get down. Oh, by the way, spikes are not an instant kill. It is always something to check out when you first play a 2D platformer, whether the spikes are a one-hit kill or if they just deal damage. Well, Mega Man, this is not. Okay. I love the look on this guy's face. Check it out. I'm gonna... Oh, nobody there. The trick here is that if he sees you, he'll split up into a bunch of little ghosts and attack you. All you have to do is duck, though. No pun intended. And that little section will continue looping until you figure out you need to go up there. As I'm sure you can tell by now just from watching, the controls really are very responsive, as I mentioned, but I think just from watching you can see how well they work. Here we have a classic, the wall is collapsing on you sequence. Good stuff. Give me some more of that roast chicken. Oop. Yeah, he's not the brightest, honestly. Oh. So that's what happens if you're not ducking. Anyways, not a big deal. Boss time. And we're going to use the popcorn. He's significantly more difficult if you don't use the popcorn because you have to stun the bats rather than removing them from the screen, but he's not too tough at any rate. I think you can figure out how the strategy goes just by watching. Should be one more. There we go. The real treasure map, you say? Well, let's take a look. Yeah, so things look a little bit different now. We got some additional locations to go to. This is going to pretty much be the end of part 1. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. Things get more interesting, and the level design gets even better as we go on, so tune in next time where we will be checking out one of these new areas. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.